All right, welcome to this daily sidereal forecast for August 6th, Thursday. My name is Athen. So we've got the moon in Aries here today, which is all about that active energy and assertiveness. And here it's about finding the middle path with that, of course. You know, the moon is our feelings, it's the day-to-day experience. It's the way we're thinking in terms of our concerns. So I think we might be concerned about what we can do, what we can achieve, what we can accomplish, and that's quite normal with this aspect, but especially with a lot of these aspects up to Saturn. You know, we've had this three-way conjunction, well now to be exact, Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus all in Leo, which is usually a very buoyant part of the chart, being squared up by Saturn. And so here, you know, the planet of that detachment, that very serious look, long-term goals and plans, and perhaps seeing some things in the hard truth and the hard reality, squaring up to this otherwise very buoyant and very expansive stellium, three-way conjunction between these three planets. So today the emphasis is going to be Mercury in terms of it. Mercury will be joining up with Venus here exact today, and then with Jupiter in the evening time period leading into tomorrow. So really today and tomorrow will be the highest effect between it. But of course, there's Saturn squaring up to Mercury, helping us make sure that we are seeing things practically. You know, we're seeing things realistically. We're taking those long-term steps and approaches to these plans because, you know, this whole past week and this week as well, Jupiter's been squaring up to Saturn, which is about visions for the future. It's about seeing, you know, the big picture. Where are we headed? What are our ideals? Where are we going? And so all that's shifting and all that's changing, and there is this energy where we are having to work at it. We're having to figure it out. And now with Mercury, it can help us figure it out. It can help us understand it on a much more realistic and practical level, especially when Saturn squares up to Mercury. So the key here today is to see things for how they are, but not too much to where it becomes negative or pessimistic or too burdensome. To work constructively towards our goals, to conceptualize our goals, to write them down, maybe to take any steps towards our routine or our health, you know, which is the case with Mercury ruling routine. And to get serious about it and to take that energy and action towards that, you know, especially with Venus in the mix, you know, our values, our enjoyments, relationships, even finances have been needing this kind of serious look, this serious approach. And that's going to be highlighted today as well. So in a nutshell, the key is certainly this three-way conjunction. It's happening in Leo, which is about self-expression. So here Leo wants to express itself. It wants to communicate, you know, who we are and share who we are with the world. Especially with Jupiter here, it can really magnify that. But Saturn is making all of that stuff very serious. Extra work to move towards our passion, extra work to move towards the things that you would usually find simple, fun, playful, and lighthearted. You see, so it's important with this to be willing to work hard, just like with all the aspects, be open to the aspect because there's something here that's needed. And I think what's needed is the long-term perspective, the patience, the hard work, seeing things for how they are, and to really get grounded and real with it. And I think as long as we're open to that, generally speaking, then this can be a very good time for relationships, can be a very good time for the finances, for the visions, for the ideals, for philosophy, for spirituality. Jupiter rules those things as well. For practical matters, for routine, for wanting to conceptualize and understand things. You know, Mercury going up to Jupiter can really help us see things from a spiritual, higher perspective. It's actually a good time for studying things like divinity, philosophy, astrology, things like that. But anything that is about taking the right side of the brain, which is those kinds of things, and making it very practical and real. So usually it's visions, usually it's ideals and things like that. So with a square from Saturn, that's why I'm really recommending writing stuff down, really conceptualizing, thinking about it, making it practical, because there's no growth, there's no expansion unless we are taking that Saturnian approach to things. So that's going to be the emphasis certainly on Mercury coming into the picture, helping us understand more on that conceptual sense. So being open to that. We do have a couple minor aspects with the moon today, sextiling Neptune, so I think we'll be willing to see things in a larger picture, which is good. And then the moon trining up to Pluto just suggests that we will be open to change, which is good as well. So we do have some support coming in from this position of Aries, which is where the moon is transiting. So I really recommend physical exercise today, of course, whatever's within reason for you and your body. But goals, achievement, self-orientation in that balanced way without going to any extremes with that, that will probably find very supportive. And we are in this third quarter phase of the lunar cycle too, so reflecting back on what we've been sort of experiencing since the last full moon last week, and maybe some insights and visions that came to us around that time to start implementing and working towards, because the square position of the moon, of the lunar cycle, is a time of moving towards our goals and things that, the ideas that came to us around that time, to prolong those visions and to take them into the future. So some things to think about, but surely Aries is about pioneering, aspiration, and that self-interested active energy. So I think generally a day of that, along with that very serious approach to Saturn, who's squaring up to this otherwise very playful, very fun-spirited part of the chart. So being willing to see that stuff realistically, seriously, and to take the practical steps towards those visions and whatever it is we're working on in the big picture. All right, so have a nice day, everyone. Thank you again for all of your support. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll talk to you all next time.